Alright guys, welcome back to mine and Chloe's channel. Bit of a different video today. So the reason I honestly thought, I've shared a fair bit about my life and everything through YouTube and through Instagram, and I never thought I'd probably do a video in this much depth, but I feel like I have some sort of moral obligation to do so because I have opened myself up for this line of questioning. So I thought, you know what? One way to help others be vulnerable is to be vulnerable yourself. So here goes. So I just thought I would share a bit about everyone and why I am so happy to talk about this now. So today is 150 days sober for me, so almost 5 months, which I'm extremely proud of considering what my habits used to be. So I know I've sort of dodged this question, I've dodged around the bush a fair bit when asked this, but no, I was only not sober from alcohol. I was a frequent drug user too, that drug especially being cocaine. I used to use it weekly, if not twice, 3 times a week. And when I would use it, it wasn't just in a bit, it was in an absurd amount. I was always that one person that would be the last to leave to take it too far. I had no control over myself when I was under the influence. So there was a fair few years where that was the case, and I mean, it put me and Chloe's relationship in a fair pickle at most times. But I guess why I want to talk about it today and why I am comfortable about talking about it today is 150 days sober. I just want to talk about how much my life has changed since I decided to make that move. And the reason I do want to talk about it is because whether you guys would know it or not, every single day I spend a lot of time replying to people with advice and questions on this exact line of topic. Just today alone, I've spent an hour plus talking to one girl about who's having the exact same troubles in her relationship, and I thought, you know what, the best way to really make this a topic that we can talk about is for me to share my story and talk about how, I did come through the other side. So I'm not here to say I wasn't an addict or anything like that. I wouldn't label myself like that, so don't take this the wrong way. I'm not saying like, I'm not trying to label this as I was an addict and I beat it and this is no clickbait, this is just me talking honest truth. And to be honest, I got to the point where I almost lost my partner. I was lying to her, I was lying to my family, I was lying to everyone around me, and I thought it's time to make a change. There was times in our relationship over the 3-4 years where I would tell Chloe, I'm going to change, I'm going to do this, I promise you I'll stop partying, I'll stop drinking, I'll stop doing drugs, and I'd do it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I'd gain no trust back, and then I'd do it again. And that was all part of, for me, I wasn't ready to stop. So I didn't want to stop. I wanted to keep my relationship because I was in love with my partner, but I didn't want to give up that side of my life. So to me, that was still more important than everything else I had over here. So pretty much where this started for me to get better was I got to the point where I knew that it was affecting my life. It was affecting my mental health, my physical health. I was overweight. I was just terribly, terribly, terribly unhappy in my mental state. I was lying to my family, to my friends. I was always putting myself in positions where I knew that I'd be able to drink or where I'd be able to get on drugs. And I thought, something has to change, because even if I lose Chloe, even if I keep lying, keep doing all this stuff, I know for a fact I'm going to continue doing this exact same thing. And do I want that for my life? So that would be my first bit of advice is, if you want to change, you have to be willing to change for yourself and not for someone else. You can't do it for someone else. Doesn't matter how much you love them, but if you're not willing to actually want to make that change in your life, it will never succeed. And when also, this is another thing, when I'm talking about this, I'm not trying to say if you drink, you're a bad person, if you do drugs, you're a bad person. I'm not labeling anything. If you're someone who can go to the pub, have 6 beers on a Friday night with their mates, come home and life's normal, congratulations, it's an amazing achievement, and seriously, I take my hat off to you. For me, I couldn't have a few drinks without ruining my life. All I wanted was to keep the party going. It's non-stop. I wanted to go full steam ahead. I was just bad, but I knew that that's where I wanted to take it every time. I would never have a drink without knowing that's exactly where I wanted to end up at the end of the night. And then the next day I'd wake up and I'd love the fact that I had an excuse to stay in bed all day and to do nothing and to just be miserable. But what I do want to say is, I feel like it's far too common to fall into those bad habits and it be accepted. I mean, I thought that was just normal for someone my age to do. I thought everyone drinks, everyone parties, everyone does all that, like, why can't I? But it wasn't until I stopped doing it that I actually found passion and love for new things again. I mean, like, even as small as just going on walks or waking up fresh on Sundays, like, I actually am enjoying life again. And I know it sounds cliche, but I actually couldn't do those things whilst I was partying like that, because you got to remember, when you're partying and drinking and doing all that stuff every single weekend, that's up here. That's where you're living. You're at the most high, your endorphins are flying, you're releasing all these chemicals, and you're just constantly up here. Life isn't meant to be up here. Life's meant to be here. So when you're living up here and you go back to here, that feels like you're down here again. So it found it really hard. I found it really hard to enjoy anything else because I was so used to always being up here. And I know it sounds weird, but if you can start to live here again, once you have those moments up here, it makes it all so much better. And I can honestly say in the last 5 months where I've stopped drinking, I haven't missed out on anything. Yes, I've lost some friends, but are they friends? I mean, I had a lot of party friends that I'd only hear from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or when they wanted to come around at 2 a.m. or do you know anyone with this, do you know anyone with that? They're the sort of mates you lose. And at the end of the day, they might be the right mates to drop off. So that's my other piece of advice, was I'd really look at who your circle is and pretty much what you do within that circle. If your mates, you're hanging around with them, the only time you're hanging around with them is when you're getting on the piss or getting up to no good, have a think about it, because I wouldn't really call them mates. Mates is someone that you can go for a fucking walk with, go to the gym, call up to see. I have a really close mate of mine who, you know, he's in the YouTube game, social media game, stuff like that. He's a lot older than me, and he reached out to me the other day and he said that, you know what, he was really struggling mentally and, you know, life was getting too much for him and stuff like that. And I spoke to him for a good 3 hours and we had a massive chat about it all. And I was like, you know what, that's a friend. A friend's someone who trusts you, who can open up to you, who can speak to you. And I was like, they're the sort of friends that I want to be around. So I've really been careful with who my circle is at the moment. And once again, it's another thing that's really just worked for me. Another big one for me is just your habits. I mean, you need to have habits that work and habits that you live by, because without habits and routine, I feel like it's really easy to fall off. And for me, it's as simple as making sure I exercise every day, I'm putting the right things in my body, eating well. And that being said, Monday to Friday, I'll be really good. On the weekend, I'll have a pizza, I'll have something like that. But you then look at that as a treat. And when you're treating yourself on the weekend, it becomes from going, a treat for me on the weekend used to be starting drinking at 12 and finishing Sunday morning. That was my treat. Whereas now, a treat for me is a pizza, block of chocolate, and a movie at night. And I still feel like I'm getting the same reward as the other thing, because I've trained now for my reward system and my belief system to be that that's a really good thing to look forward to. And it's taken me ages. And I know the people that I do talk to and people that do message me, they say, but how do you do it? How did you make that transition? It's such a big leap. I didn't do it overnight. And I also failed a lot of times. I reckon I tried to go sober 3, 4, 5 times before I actually got it done. And that's okay too, because each time you learn different things. You learn your triggers and you learn what things do affect you and what you need to change to make it a plausible habit. So yeah, that's another piece of advice. I don't know, I just thought like the reason behind this video there's no magic answer, there's no 5-10 step process that I'm trying to tell you to follow, but basically just be authentic about how you're currently living, how you're currently feeling, who you're surrounding yourself with, and does it feel right to you? Because I know at the end of the day, I knew all along that what I was doing wasn't right, who I was hanging around with wasn't right, my habits weren't correct, but I didn't want to leave them because I was comfortable. And I knew that I enjoyed it, and I knew I didn't even really enjoy it because I knew how bad it would make me feel all week, but I was just stuck in that cycle. So that's all I'm saying to you is if you are watching this, have a think about how you really feel, how you're spending your weekends, how you're spending your weekdays, who you're hanging around with, and just maybe step back from it and think, is this working for me? Am I doing the best that I know I can be and what I can do? And am I spending my time how I want to spend my time to make the best future possible for myself? Because I know now, in the last 5 months, I've literally seen my life completely transform, and I see opportunities now that I never thought I would see. I know now I actually am sleeping with so much ease now because I don't have any guilt, I don't have any lies, and I'm like, there's nothing that is just overhanging every night, because who knows what you said on the weekend, what you said to this person, what you did, how much you spent. Like, you get a grip on your life, and once you actually have control, everything changes. And I'm now in a position where I'm about to be a father in 3 months, and I could not be more happy and more proud and more excited because I know I've done the work and I'm ready for it. So I guess what I am trying to say is, if you do want to make a change, I highly suggest it. If you feel you need to, open up to someone around you, talk to people, get their advice, because it's the best thing I've ever done. And to those people that have reached out to me and I'm constantly talking to and replying to, that have been through similar or I'm helping through along the way, thanks for reaching out, one, because it does help me deal with what I've been through, because giving advice and encouraging other people through it does help. I've had mates that have gone sober just 50 days, 60 days just to try, and they'll always send me screenshots of how many days streak they've had, and they're very proud of what they've done. And it's like, it feels good for me to be an advocate for this, considering I was so far lost in it that I now feel like I have control. But yeah, that being said, that's what worked for me, and I don't know if it's going to work for anyone else, but I just did want to make this video to say, if you are out there and you feel lost, you're not alone. I have been there, people are there. Everyone's just trying to survive, everyone's trying to fit in, everyone's just trying to make, everyone's just trying to feel comfortable and get through, and people have different coping mechanisms. They do things some people do things just purely for survival, to get out of bed, and that's all they look forward to and that's all they know. Doesn't make it wrong. But what I am saying is, there is greener grass over the other side. Take it from someone who did it for that long, that's all I fucking cared about, basically. So if you do feel like you're in a position that you want to make some changes, go for it. So yeah, I guess that's me being in a complete open book about what I went through and what I know others out there are going through. So if you are someone who's decided to go sober or to make any sort of change in your life, whether it's just even to quit junk food or whatever it may be, it doesn't even have to do with drugs and alcohol. Congratulations, you're on the right step, you're doing your right thing. And if you are watching this video and something is hitting home, or it's triggering, it's making me think, hey, like maybe, I never even thought about it like that, but maybe that does sort of relate to me. Delve into it, have a think about it, and who knows, it may you may end up changing a fair bit about your life. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you spending the time to listen to what I had to say, and I wish everyone the best.